Welcome to Alien Mysteries. Tonight, we bring you a chilling tale of a family that unknowingly moved into a house haunted by a dark past. What begins as a dream home soon becomes a living nightmare as malevolent forces awaken to torment the new inhabitants. This is the story of the haunted house that no one should have entered. It seemed like the perfect start for the Bennett family: new town, new home, and a chance to leave their troubles behind. The house stood in eerie silence at the edge of town, towering over a thick forest. Its Victorian design gave it a timeless charm, but beneath the surface, something sinister lurked within its walls. The family was hopeful. Tim and Sarah Bennett, along with their two children, Lily and Max, felt lucky to have found such a beautiful house at an unbeatable price. They didn't question why the house had been vacant for so long. They didn't know the history, the unspeakable tragedies that had taken place inside those very rooms. It wasn't long before strange things began to happen. At first, it was subtle, shadows moving in the corners of their vision, doors creaking open on their own, and cold drafts where there shouldn't have been any. But then, the whispers began. Lily was the first to hear them, soft, disembodied voices calling her name in the dead of night. They came from the walls, from the floorboards, and even from the ceiling. No matter how hard she tried to ignore them, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. At first, Tim and Sarah dismissed their children's fears. "It's just your imagination," they said. "This house is old, it makes noises." But as the nights wore on, even the parents couldn't deny that something was terribly wrong. Late one night, Tim awoke to the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate footsteps coming down the hallway toward their room. He held his breath, listening as the door creaked open ever so slightly. But when he rushed to the hallway, it was empty. Only silence greeted him. Things began to escalate. Objects moved on their own, furniture shifting, lights flickering violently, and the house itself groaning as if it were alive. Sarah found herself waking up at 3 a.m. every night, drenched in sweat, with the overwhelming sensation that she was being watched. But then, they saw it. A dark figure, standing at the foot of their bed. It was no trick of the light. It was real. Its presence was heavy, its form twisted and hollow. They could feel the hatred radiating from it, and it stared at them with hollow, empty eyes. The family soon uncovered the truth. Decades ago, a woman had lived in the house with her children. But after losing her mind, she drowned them in a nearby river before taking her own life in the house. Ever since, the spirits of those poor children and their vengeful mother remained trapped within, tormenting anyone who dared to live there. Desperate for answers, the Bennetts reached out to a paranormal investigator who confirmed their worst fears: the house was cursed. The spirits were not just restless, they were dangerous. They wanted the family out, or worse. As the investigator attempted to communicate with the spirits, the house erupted in a frenzy, violent banging from the walls, screams echoing from the attic, and the ground shaking beneath their feet. The house had become a battleground, and the Bennetts were losing. With no other choice, the family fled, leaving behind their dream home and all their possessions. They never looked back. To this day, the house remains empty, its windows dark, its halls silent. But the spirits still linger, waiting for the next family to arrive.